Hello, in this video I'm going to try and link two hashtag themes, one of which is very popular, which is Show Us Your Doors, and the second one is videos for swaps, books that people are willing to swap. And in this I'm going to show you a lot of doors that I have available, and my preference is definitely to swap rather than sell, though I don't reject either option. If you're wondering about the funny lighting, it's because I've got a light set up below to try and sort of show the spines clearer, so you can compare the spines relative to each other. Some run from a sort of near grubby white to a reasonable yellow colour. Now, as far as I know, I cannot swap between selfie and direct filming on the iPhone, and I don't edit, so I'm going to have to do this by chance. I hope it comes out, and I'm going to show you the doors now. It's mainly three authors: Lin Carter, the Akers Prescott series, and E.C. Tubb. There are a few others. Most are first printings, but a few aren't. I got these, I think, about a year and a half ago. And I did swap some of them and upgrade a few of my books. And I bought the lot in one, well, in 2 or 3 goes, but from one place, on the basis that it was too good an opportunity to miss. So now I'm going to try and show you the books. I hope this works. I will only be able to check it when I review it later. So on the left I've got a whole load of Carters, and there's a Moorcock in that row I see. Then on the back row there's all the Akers Prescott books. The front row I've got some Year's Best Fantasy, the early ones of which were edited by Lin Carter. Then some E.C. Tubbs, some John Normans, and 1 or 2 odd ones. I think I do have 1 or 2 more John Normans. This isn't all my duplicate doors, but it's the majority by far. So I'm now going to come back. Hopefully you can see me again. So because most of these aren't bagged, I will be able to go through and show you most of them, as a lot of other people have done. So I'm going to pause it while I get myself ready to do. Right, I think I've got myself reasonably sorted now. So I'm going to go through the books by and large by author, not in number sequence. And I'm going to start with the John Norman books. If you want, I'm not going to re-show you the spines. If you want to check the relative colour, then I suggest you re-check the start of this video. But here is the first one, Blood Brothers of Gore. That is the rear cover. This is a first printing. Pages are slightly tanned, but not too bad. It is in very nice condition. Spine does show 1 or 2 very, very light wrinkles, but I wouldn't call it creasing. And considering the thickness of this book, I think that is very reasonable. Next one is Explorers of Gore. Again, a first printing, no internal illustration. Again, pages moderately tanned. Very, very faint creasing. So I don't think anyone would complain too much about that. Next one is Slave Girl of Gore. Virtually no spine creasing. There is, however, I don't know whether you can see, a crease at the top there. So not perfect, but even so, a very reasonable cover and a reasonable copy. Next one is Fighting Slave of Gore. Again, this is our first printing. Not much tanning, to be honest. It's quite reasonable. And generally in excellent condition. Very slight mark on the rear cover, but in my view would be a nice copy for any collection. And the final Gore book I'm going to show you is Savages of Gore. This is door 472. No internal art. The cover art is by Ken Kelly. I don't know whether they're all by Ken Kelly. I might just quickly go back and have a look. No, Fighting Slave was the art was by Richard Hescox. This one, the art by Gino Dashiell. Another one by Gino Dashiell. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing that right. And this one, the art was by Ken Kelly. That completes my showing of the Gore books that I have. I'm sure one or two more in another tray, but I'm not going to dig through all my trays to try and find the rest. So I'll pause it while I get ready to start the next batch. Right, next I'm going to go through the EC Tub books. And there they all are. So these are generally reasonably yellow. And I'm going to show you one at a time. These are not in order. This is the Quillian Sector, number 19. Beautiful condition. Does have some internal illustration. The cover art is by H.R. Van Dongen. Basically in lovely condition. I think you will see by and large why I decided to buy all of them. This was from a charity shop. Next is number 348, which is number 20. There is some internal illustration. The cover art is by Don Mates. And that was a lovely copy. Next is door 383. This is the Terror Data. It's number 22 in the series. Cover art by Michael Mariano. And an internal illustration. I did talk a little bit about E.C. Tubb and the ending of the Dumas series in my video Should Door Collectors Carry On Beyond 580, the second one of those. So if you want to hear anything more on a story about how it ended, then I suggest you watch that video. Next is another, which is number 23, door 411. Again, lovely condition, I can't see any faults. Cover art by Ken Kelly. And a rather impressive illustration inside. Absolutely beautiful condition, that one. Number 24, Nectar of Heaven. Cover art by Ken Kelly. And this one, I can tell, came from Forbidden Planet. Not Forbidden Planet, from the Fantasy Centre, sorry. I assume it was I might not have bought it, but it was bought in 1999. There is no internal art, but generally in absolutely superb condition. Next is number 25. Has some internal illustration. And the cover art is by Richard Hescox. You cannot see any faults with it. Oh, sorry, no, there is a faint crease there. There is a fault, but it's not that significant. Carrying on, this is number 26. The Coming Event. Pardon me. Cover art by Michael Mariano. No internal illustration. No obvious faults I can see. Oh, now we go back. Number 12, door 143, Eloise. Again, a first printing, and by cover art by George Barr. Quite impressive, that cover art, I think. Can't see any faults with this. I say that, there's a very tiny sort of crease up there. And a little black mark on the top of the book. I don't know whether that would come off. I haven't tried. At least I don't think I did. So, a very reasonable copy. Next is number 14. Jack of Swords. Has an internal illustration. And the cover art is by Thomas Barber Jr. Sorry, I haven't heard of him. Can't see any faults with that one. Next is number 17. There's the cover. It does have an internal illustration. and the cover art is by Don Mates. This does have a couple of faults, it's only very good, maybe even worse. Tiny little cover crease at that top corner, and some slightly longer creases at the bottom corner. So, only VG at best. The next one is Iduna's Universe, number 21. Cover art by Michael Mariano. Internal illustration. This one does have some faults. Got a 1/2 inch crease, sort of fairly noticeable top corner. There is a crease not on the corner but along about 1/2 inch along the top. And in this case, I think the front cover crease must have been because it was dropped. So there's some very slight creases on the first few pages. So that, I presume, had been dropped at some time. And the last Doom Rest, Haven of Darkness. Has an illustration. The cover art by Don Mates. I'm afraid, unlike some YouTubers, I don't recognise the artists from their style. I have to look and check. And that completes the review of the tubs that I've got spare. They're all first printings and mostly in excellent condition. I will pause the video again so I can get ready to move on to the next lot. Right, carrying on, I'm going to start off with a couple that aren't firsts. This one is Marion Zimmer Bradley, Hunters of the Red Moon. Excellent condition, no faults, but it is a 7th printing and it doesn't have the door collector's number in the box. Otherwise, a beautiful copy. Next, the first Dre Prescott novel, Transit to Scorpio. Whoever collected these has one or two of the early ones in the series in the English edition. So I've got one or two of those as well, which I'm not showing. This one was a 5th printing. So basically, when he started collecting, it obviously wasn't when they first came out. A few years later, I suspect he bought new and generally kept them very, very well. So again, it doesn't have the door collector's number in the box. I'm sure it will clean up, but there is a hint of label removal there, but it looks as though it would just clean off very easily. Cover art is by Josh Kirby, and there was an internal illustration. That's another one that is not a first. Next one I'm going to show you is a 3rd printing. Flyers of Antares, number 8. Very minor edge wear, but generally very nice condition. And the cover art is by Richard Hescox, no internal illustration. going to check that. The internal illustrations are within the book. So when I've been saying no internal illustrations, I've only been checking at the start. I haven't looked within the book, and there are 4 or 5 within this book. In fact, I'll show you. Sorry, so I may have missed lists of illustrations within a book when I've been going through these. I'm now going to go on to the Acres books, so this is going to take quite a while. Again, this is a reprint, so some of the early ones in this series were reprints. This is number 5 in the series, Prince of Scorpio. It doesn't have the door collector's number in the box. It is a 4th printing. Cover art by Josh Kirby. And again, a large number of illustrations. So I'll just show you one possibly. And there, as you saw, there were several others. So another reprint. I'm now up to number 11 in the series, and now we're on to first printings. And I think all the Acres Prescott ones after this will be first printings, unless it reverts back to a lower number. This one has a map. I have seen one YouTuber say he's happy about seeing maps in books. And the cover art by Michael Whelan. Number 12. So again, I'm very much sure it will be a first. It is. Again, cover art by Michael Whelan. And again, 5 internal illustrations. I'll show you one. Condition. Tiny bit of edge wear, but fairly minimal. I would say that's at least very good. Probably more like near fine. Next is number 13, Renegades of Cregan. Cover art by Michael Whelan. And again, lots of internal illustrations. In terms of faults, there's a... not convinced whether... you may be able to see there's a tiny mark at the top of the book. Feels as though it doesn't go through, but it is noticeable. And this one has a crease here, a light crease. So again, very nice condition. Back of the book in excellent condition. I'll grab a few more. Next is number 14, Crozier of Cregan. Cover art by Josh Kirby. Has a map. And another set of illustrations. And I'm only going to show one per book. These early Akers books all seem to have lots of illustrations. Next one, Secret Scorpio, cover art by Josh Kirby. This one, I don't know how well you can see it, has got some sort of marks. I'm not certain I call it a creasing, but it's been marked in this sort of area where my finger is. I don't know whether you can see. Other than that, the condition looks to be excellent. Next, another. Right. Next is number 16, Savage Scorpio. Again, the art by Josh Kirby. This one has the book club leaflet inside. Those who are interested, pause the video if you want to have a look at that. And I'm sure, yep, a whole load, well, not as many illustrations, but several illustrations inside. I will show you one if I can get to it. One. Condition is very good. A tiny little crease there. I don't know whether you can see that. Quite minor. Next one is number 17. We're now up to door 301. Cover art by Josh Kirby again. Again, several illustrations. Side 3, I think, in this one. In terms of condition, there is a slight crease there, not that bad. And the last one is Alan Burt Akers, Golden Scorpio. Again, cover art by Josh Kirby. Again, a few internal illustrations. So that completes the Burt Akers part of that series. I'll just pause it before I move on to the Prescott. Right, carrying on with Dre Prescott. Number 22, A Victory for Cregan. I have to admit I have never read the Dre Prescott series. Tell myself I ought to. We're back to cover art by Richard Hescox. And again, several internal illustrations. This one, condition is pretty much immaculate. Next is number 19, sorry, so I'm jumping about. Another with cover art by Richard Hescox. Again, several illustrations. internally. Number 20, A Sword for Cregan. Cover art, Richard Hescox again. Several illustrations. Internally. And this one looks to be in sort of really excellent condition. Next, I seem to be jumping about in terms of order. I'll turn these over so I can do it slightly more logical order. Next, Beasts of Antares, number 23. Again, Richard Hescox. Again, several internal illustrations. And very nice condition. A slight hint of a crease along the top of the cover there. Generally, a very reasonable copy. Number 24, Rebel of Antares. And this tape is, or recording is taking a lot of time, so I might have to split it. Art by Ken W. Kelly. And again, several illustrations internally. I shall pause on showing you the illustrations. Number 25, Legions of Antares. Cover art by Ken Kelly. Condition excellent. Looks as though it had a very slight ding at the top there, or bump, but it's not that bad. Then Allies of Antares. A different artist finally. Cover art by Clyde Caldwell. That is reasonably impressive. Again, several internal illustrations. Condition, tiny bit of edge wear, I mean tiny. Generally in excellent condition. So I think you can see why I bought these books, and I did upgrade a few of my collection. Number 21, A Fortune for Cregan. Cover art, Richard Hescox. About 1 or 2 millimeter crease at the top corner, but otherwise excellent condition. Number 31, Masks of Scorpio. Cover art, Richard Hescox. No mention of internal illustrations. Maybe they have decided to stop paying for that when they got to this level. Condition generally excellent, a little bit of edge wear down the bottom corner, but otherwise excellent condition. Number 30, Talons of Scorpio. Cover art, Ken Kelly. Again, it has one of those book adverts. I'm curious, do people prefer the books to have those? Do they keep them? Do they throw them? Just out of curiosity. I always tend to keep if they're in there. This one is generally excellent condition. Spine's slightly off centre, so it's got a white edge. Number 29, Fires of Scorpio. Cover art, Richard Hescox again. No illustrations mentioned. It does have a crease there. So there is a crease on this. So not perfect. But otherwise in very nice condition. Next is number 31, Masks of Scorpio. Cover art, Richard Hescox. Another 5 for $1 slip. And generally, well, really nice condition, but there is a very light cover crease this top corner. No idea if you can see. And the last 4 of the Prescotts to come. And this one is a second copy of Talons of Scorpio. I see I've already shown you one. This is door 558. Ken Kelly. Cannot see any faults with the cover. Looks to be in beautiful condition. Number 29, is that? Oh, another duplicate, Fires of Scorpio. Cover, Richard Hescox. It does have some creasing, this one. A little bit of creasing there, a little bit of creasing down on the front cover. Tiny crease there. So, some faults with that one, but generally a nice copy. Next is Delia of Valia. Cover art by Ken Kelly. And generally excellent condition. The last of the Dre Prescotts, number 27. No, I don't think this is a duplicate. Hopefully it isn't. Mazes of Scorpio. Cover art, Richard Hescox. Again, that. And generally looks to be in excellent condition. So I'll pause it. That completes. In fact, I think I'm going to stop the video and perhaps carry on another video.